Hello, hello, and good morning. Hopefully, everybody can hear me pretty well. I'm ready to get this party started. As Andy mentioned before, we will be covering, a variety of topics today. But first is going to be the importing a job from Excel. So I went ahead and took the liberty of creating a job on an Excel file that we can kind of take a look at and dissect a little bit and show you really what all that you need to get in there. Um, So yeah, this is going to be a very basic Excel file. I just created some bid items of what they might look like, and I was going to show you what all that you would need to get that started. So first and foremost, if you're using groups, you would need to understand that you need the group code, we need a group description, we need an item number, we need the item description, we need the quantity, and then we need the unit of measure. And a lot of you guys are going to get that, through your takeoff program, or, if they send you plans, a lot of this is already lined out. If you don't actually use any of the groups, if you don't use group codes or group descriptions or anything, and you just have the regular um, item numbers and bid items, you can import the exact same way. You just don't have to have the group codes. But this is the bare bones basic kind of template of what you would need to import into our program. There are a lot of other options that you can add in here uh, to bring in, but for now this is what we're going to use, and I'll walk you guys through the process. So we already have this loaded into the cloud, but for the cloud users, this is what you would need to do. Now that we have our Excel file saved, we're hitting the down bar up here. This is the cloud toolbar, and then we're going to go to the second option right here. So that's going to be from PC to server. So you're going to click that, and it's going to bring up a window where you can search through your desktop, the downloads, and things like that, your OneDrive or whatever that you would need to find it in. You just click that. This is the one that we want. That's what it's called. So then we would open it, and it loads it to the cloud. And once we're done loading that to the cloud, we would need to create a new job, which I've already created. So our job is going to be called webinar job. So we can just jump right in, go straight to our bid items. And you'll notice that this job is completely empty. And that's what we need the import for. So what we're going to do once we already have it uploaded to the cloud is going to be right click anywhere on this right hand side in this window, and we're going to navigate to the import from Excel function. Okay, go ahead and click that. And then this pop-up just lets you know that the import process is only going to add new items, and that any items that you already have in here will not be overwritten or changed. So we're going to go ahead and hit proceed because we don't have anything in there, so we have nothing to worry about. And then I know that I'm looking for something called the webinar import, so I just navigate to that, go ahead and hit open. And right here is going to be the import wizard. This is where you see the values inside your Excel sheet on this left-hand field, and then on this right-hand side are all of your different options or different, things that you can actually bring in through the import process. So, I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'm just kind of scanning through here so you guys will be able to kind of go back and look at it through with the recording. But really, there's a lot of options that you can put in here. Total cost. You can do what if items, rounded cost, bid unit prices, so on and so forth. But for the most part, you're not going to have that already. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to click and drag these items straight across to make sure that the fields match what we need them to. So I'm going to take this number one item, which is going to be the group code, and I'm going to drag it straight across to the group code. And you'll see that it just matches 1-to-1. Group description, straight across. I call it item number, but it's item code because you can use, alphanumeric or anything in there. So I just drag that straight across. Item description, same thing. Quantity, you can do bid quantity. You can also upload a takeoff quantity if you wanted to. And then we can do the unit of measure right here. All right. So that's pretty much it. once we assign, our header rows to where they need to be, the next step is going to be making sure, this is probably the most important part for you guys. It's just to make sure that when we go to rows to import, we want to import on row 2 because we do not want it to bring in the header rows. So if you want to make sure what it's actually bringing in, you can just hit the up arrow right here. So you'll see GC for general conditions, and that's going to match kind of the information that I want it to bring in. I want bid item 01, mobilization, 1 lump sum. That makes sense. So we're just going to go ahead and hit start import. Okay, and this is what it would look like. This would be the finished product of your import. So we have bid item 01 under general conditions as our mobilization. We have bid item 01 under drainage for our 12-inch storm sewer pipe. And then we have bid item 01 under the hot mix asphalt for commercial hot mix asphalt. Okay. And then, so the next portion, so that's our very first section. I can kind of give pause, just to kind of make sure everyone's following along with that. And then I can move on into the next section that we were going to be working on, which is going to be inside our bid items, actually creating labor records, equipment records, and material records on the fly. All right. So let's go ahead and move into that next section. So what we'll do is we'll be working mostly on this drainage pipe right here, this 12-inch. So we're going to be double clicking inside of there. And then we're going to go to our detail. All right, so now this is purely if you don't have the information in your system already. Obviously, if you have the information and you want to, click and drag in any labor or any equipment or anything like that that we have, obviously go ahead and do that. But we're working under the assumption that you need to add something new on the fly. So the first thing that I want to add is going to be a labor. I want to add a pipe layer to our system to be able to use in this bid. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do, you have two options. You can either right click and hit insert right here, or you can just hit the insert function button down here at the bottom. I like to just press the button for whatever reason. It just makes the most sense to me. And then it'll bring up this highlight right here, and it's going to ask what type of record are you going to be creating, or you going to find. So I know that I can just hit L for labor, and that's going to bring up L next to a hard hat, explaining that it is labor. But if you don't know all of the different options, for these the types, you can hit plus again, and then just click the down key right, or the down arrow right here. You can create an assembly, it could be crews, equipment, labor, equipment, other, plugs, subs, pretty much anything that you have access to in our tables, you have the ability to create. So the next one that I'll be creating is a piece of equipment. And then the last one that I'll be creating is M for material. Okay, so I'm going to create all of these on the fly for you guys and show you, kind of how to do it. So the first thing that I'm going to be creating is going to be a pipe layer. So it's going to ask me what code that I want. So I'm going to just say PL for pipe layer, and then I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. Okay. So once you hit enter, it will bring up a kind of information wizard that says, hey, the labor code that you entered does not currently exist in your tables. So you can either select one from our list, or we can actually insert one, that's new. So I don't want to select, since I already know that there's not a pipe layer in there, I want to actually insert it. So we're going to click insert. And then now this is where the nitty gritty happens. This is where it wants me to create exactly what group it's in, the description. If you want it to tie to an equipment number, you can also go to the cost details and make sure that those are accurate. So the first thing that we're going to do is apply it to a group. I'm just going to apply it to the labor group. And then if you don't know, you can hit the magnifying glass and it'll show you the different groups that you have. You can also create a new group if you want to. Excuse me, on the fly like that. But I'm just going to assign it to the labor group, and then I'll call it pipe layer. Okay. And then we're going to go to cost details. And then the trade, I'll know it could be labor. And then the hourly wage, we'll just say is $32 an hour. All right, so now we have a private rate, we have our labor trade, $32 an hour plus our $30 an hour benefit. So it's going to come out to be $62 an hour even. If we had burdens set up, you could put those in there. You could also go and change these around in any way that you want to individually as well. So if I wanted this FICA to be, 7.75%, you could type that in there and take it to 7.75%. But I'm just going to leave this 0 for now. Then that actually creates the record for me. I have all of the information that I need to get this pipe layer into our system. So I can go ahead and hit close here and then hit OK. And that automatically brings in our pipe layer. And now all that we would need to do is adjust the days. If I want them on the job for 2 days, there you go. Now you have your pipe layer on the job, one pipe layer on the job for 2 days. Okay, maybe we'll just leave this alone for now though. We can always adjust the production panel later. All right, so now that we are done with the labor record, we're going to follow almost the exact same scenario with our piece of equipment. Now that we have the equipment already there, I want to create a CAT 320 excavator. So if I do not have that in my system, I can always create it on the fly. So one thing you'll have to know is that you will need to create these codes on your own, and then make sure that there are no duplicates inside your system or it won't work. So for this code, I'll just do C320, and then I will hit enter. And of course, it says again, there is no piece of equipment with this code that we need to either select a piece of equipment or insert a piece of equipment. So I'm going to insert a piece of equipment. Now it's going to ask me for the group that I want. I can always open this up if I don't know, but I do know that I want it to be a part of the excavator group. So I'm just going to type in EXC there, or you can just find it and then hit select. Okay. It's going to ask for a description. So you can say CAT 320 excavator. E. All right. And then if you want to assign it to an operator, you could put an operator in there, or not. It's completely up to you. And it's going to ask for the fuel and oil. So I know that I'm going to want either diesel or maybe the red diesel, whichever, but I'll just pick diesel here. And then what is the fuel usage per hour? If you don't know that offhand, you could maybe Google and try to figure that out. But I'm going to just say that it's 2.25 gallons of diesel per hour that this piece of equipment actually uses. And then we can go to cost detail, just like we did in our labor, and then it's going to give us a breakdown. So I know that I'm bidding this job on the O2 weekly as our default. So I'm just going to put in a price here. Notice it did bring in the usage for all the different areas already, because that's what we set up to be our default. And then our hourly rate for this piece of equipment will be, let's just say $75 an hour. Okay. So we're saying that we are going to be renting this piece of equipment for $75 an hour plus our fuel, which comes out to be $88.50. And then we have our daily rate based on an 8-hour day for $708. Okay, we can just close this and then hit OK. That's going to automatically load our CAT 320 into the system. And it also saves it to your tables. So it's not just like you're creating the record only in the job. It will save the record to your tables as well. And then the last step here would be to create the material. So material is going to be a little bit different than the things above, simply because you have to work with subgroups for materials only. So if I know that I want this to be, let's say 3/4 inch crush rock. Oh, now we're in the quantity over here. 3/4 inch crush rock. Okay, I'll do 3/4 inch CR. And if I hit enter, it's going to say, hey, the material code that you entered does not exist. It's the same concept. We're going to go to insert rather than select. And then now we have one more selection to make here. Rather, instead of only the groups like you did for labor and equipment, now we have to find the subgroup as well. So I'm going to actually create a new material group because I know that the data that we're using in here is our Z data. So this is just demo data. I'm going to create a new group that's called aggregate. Okay, so we're creating a group on the fly. We're going to hit OK. And now we're going to have it, it's going to be in alphabetical order, but since all of these are led with the Z's, we do have the aggregate up at the top. So I'm going to select that. And then now it's going to ask me for a subgroup. I want the subgroup to be rock because it is, at the end of the day, crushed rock. Now you could call this subgroup, it could be crushed rock, it could be, whatever you want to decide it, but that's kind of how I want to delineate it. So now it's going to be the description of the actual item itself. So it would be 3/4 inched crushed rock. And then we're going to buy this by the ton. Okay. And then we're going to hit next. And this is where you can put your conversion weights in if you're going to be using our trench profiler and you want to make sure that you're getting it converted from your tonnage to the cubic yards, as far as filling it in. But all of this you don't actually need if you don't have the information on it. You can just hit next. And then this is going to be where you would apply a vendor. So I know that I just am going to call this a plug vendor. And then if you don't have a vendor code, you can always insert it. So this is how you can create new vendors. So you could do a plug group, a plug vendor, and I'll just call it plug vendor. Hit OK. So now we've created this plug vendor and you can assign the cost to it. You can assign a cost to it. So then it would be, let's say 25.5 per ton, and that's going to be delivered, right? Okay. And then yes, it is taxable. And then we hit finish. And then that has created the material item. All right. Well, now that I have created the labor, the equipment, and the material, I will pause and see if anyone has any questions or anything. Feel free to use the Q&A to submit those. And then if no one has any questions or anything like that, then we'll just kind of proceed on to the next section of the program. All righty. Well, the next portion of the program, of this program, would be to save a crew or to save item masters, and they kind of work hand in hand. Crews are not going to work for every single bid item, and obviously, a bid item that you bid today might not necessarily work for, every new job. Let's go ahead and get this rolling. So for this specific bid item, 12-inch storm sewer pipe, let's go ahead and get some more information in here and I can show you. So right now we just have one pipe layer and then we have one piece of equipment. So let's say that we need two of these guys and then one pipe layer. Maybe we need some labor, and then obviously we need an operator. And then if we wanted to bring our supervisor in, we can. And then we can just say, how many lineal foot per day do we think that we can get this done? So I'll just go, I don't know, 275 lineal foot per day, just to kind of give me some idea of what we're looking like here. And then I'm just going to make up, let's just say we need, 175 tons of information. So this is what it would look like when you're going to to bid this item. We have our pipe layer in here, and you can change the quantities. You can change the amount of days individually. It doesn't have to be this number, right there. Same thing with our excavator. If it's not going to be there for the full 12 days, maybe it's only there for 10. That's totally fine. You can adjust and manipulate this in any way that you see fit. But let's say that we wanted to actually save this pipe layer, the excavator. We need two operators because we brought in two excavators. So this pipe layer, the labor, the two operators, and the supervisor, and this excavator as the pipe crew. You want to save that individually as a pipe crew that we can use later. So what we would do is now that you have this all created inside the bid item, you don't really have to do anything else. There's nothing really special that you have to do with it. You just go up to Actions up at the top. Okay. And then go to Create Crew under Actions. All right. So once you hit create crew, it's just like all the other things that we did today is going to be creating stuff on the fly. So we're creating a brand new crew. So it's going to ask, what is the group code for the crew that you want to create? So you can hit the magnifying glass and there's paving crew, backfill crew, all of this. I don't want that. I want this to be, let's say pipe. Okay. And we select. And then now, what do we want the code to be? So this is where it could be more individualized, where it could be like storm drain pipe crew or something. And you could actually assign it in assembly as well. So if you have an assembly built with, let's say, your crushed rock and your pipe and things like that, you can go ahead and assign it there the same way that you would, like a labor to a piece of equipment, or you could find it. And the production rate is going to be based on specifically what this can do. So right now we have it as, idea 275 lineal foot per day. So that's what we would type in here, 275. And then the production rate unit of measure would be lineal foot. Okay, so pipe, this is the code specifically related to this description. We have the production, and then we have the unit of measure, and then we can hit next. And then it's going to just give us, kind of an overview saying, is this what you want? One pipe layer. Is this what you want? Two excavators, one labor, two operators, one supervisor. Yes, that's what I want. So I hit finish and that's it. It's created. So if you wanted to use it on a different bid item, let's say this commercial HMA for whatever reason, or, if I wanted to use it on another sewer pipe, you could just click this crew button right here. And now we have our pipe crew saved to the top. You can just click and drag this bad boy in. It's going to say, is this the production rate that you want? You can change that on the fly as well. You can just hit OK. And now it brings it in saved. We have the pipe layer, we have the two excavators, we have the one one labor, two operators, and then the one supervisor. And now it's saved as a crew that you can use over and over again. Okay. Any questions on that? Let's kind of take a little bit to pause. And then after that, we will be working on saving and then using bid item masters. All right. Well, let's go ahead and save this as an item master then. And I will show you how to do that and how to use it and sort of how to use things without actually having to save them as item masters. So if you go to our tables, you'll see that we have item masters as a listed item under one of the tables that you can click on. So if we open ours up right now, we have, this is what it looks like. So we have our item master groups and you can create different groups, but one of our groups underneath is going to be the regular job items. I'm actually going to create a whole nother group just to show you guys how to do that. But you could also do that on the fly. So I'm just going to hit the escape button one time on my keyboard to take me out to the drainage level. I'll hit escape on my keyboard one more time to take me out to the job level. So this is the only bid item that we have bid right now. We didn't have our pipe in there yet. We could put pipe in there, but let's just move forward as if we did. So this is bid item 01 12-inch storm drain sewer pipe. So if this is very similar to how you would bid every other 12-inch storm pipe, or maybe it's even a 6-inch or an 8-inch or whatever it may be, if overall this is very reminiscent of every other bid item of this type, what you could do to not have to recreate the wheel is we'll save it as an item master. So I'm just going to left click it one time here and then right click and then you're going to go down to Save Item Master. Looks like the floppy disk. Click that. And it's going to ask you the same thing that we've, kind of went over today is what group code do we want and what item code do we want? So I want to actually create my own item master group. So what you're going to do here is you're going to hit the magnifying glass, and then it's going to open up the select group option. And then I'm going to left click the very top folder because I want to create a subfolder of my own. So I'm going to hit the plus button here, and the group I'll just call Storm Drain. Okay. Now this will save as its own independent storm drain group. So we hit select, and then the item code would be 12-inch storm sewer pipe. Okay, hit OK. And now what that does is that saves this bid item completely with the quantity, the unit of measure, and everything underneath it as an item master so that you can use it over again if there's any reason for you to do that. So what we could do is, let's say I want to add another copy of this to the job. I could right click. I could go to Insert Item Master. Click that. Find our storm sewer pipe over here. Make sure to hit spacebar to fully select that, because you can select multiple. You can select multiple items and bring them in the order that you select them. So I'm just going to select this, hit select, and it's going to automatically bring this in the exact way that we bid it before. So if you double click in on the new one, it's going to have all of the same information, even the same production rate and everything that the original one had. So if for whatever reason you want to kind of adjust this and say maybe there's like 3 excavators and maybe there's like 3 laborers, and then up the operator, and then maybe add another pipe layer, you're sort of swapping the crews around, and you could change the production rate. So maybe you're getting 575 lineal foot per day, and then it's going to adjust kind of everything underneath, and then you would be good to go. All right, just hit escape one time and you're ready to rock and roll with that. And then the last thing that I'll show you guys is how to use a bid item from a different job. So that is a very common question that we get. So that's one thing that I wanted to show you, and it works along the same vein as you would with an item master. So let's say that I wanted to copy this again, but in a different job. I would just right click, you go to Insert Item Master, and then you have the ability to also select the items from the job. So you can click that. And then of course yours should have, multiple, but even if you wanted to use it within the same job, I could say the webinar job. We could select that, open up our groups, find the drainage group that I want to copy, pick the original 12-inch storm sewer pipe, go ahead and select that. Let's say that I wanted to select both of them and just kind of see how that's going to come in. All right, then we can hit select, and they both get brought in at the same time to whichever group that you want them to be a part of. And that is how you use item masters. Go ahead and pause there.
All right. We'll open it up and see if anyone still has any additional questions. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, Jonathan, just to bring the referral back up for them, if that's all right, in a minute.
Of course.
And let me get that brought up. Share. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see this back on the screen. Again, you can scan the QR code, which will bring you to the referral form. We thank you, everyone, for attending. And again, if you still have questions, you can go ahead and do that while we're concluding here. But Please keep an eye open for the survey that we're going to send out. We do want to get your feedback and how we can make this better, and any things that we can add to it, especially the topics area. If there's any topics of the program you would like us to address in these webinars, we are always looking for that and want to know what you guys want to learn more about. But we want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for joining us. We will be doing another one in November. Not sure of the exact date yet with the way Thanksgiving is falling, but keep an eye open for that same email that you all saw 2 weeks ago that allowed you to register for that. If we're missing anybody at your company that you would like added into that distribution list, please reach out to us, and you can reach out to anybody here at SharpeSoft. So again, we want to thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining us. We hope this was useful for you. And lastly, as well, remember, anybody that is on premise, there is the 30% off additional licenses at this time. So we wish everyone a blessed day as they head out, and we hope it's a productive and profitable one for everyone. Thank you very much.